grace of God bless man and every woman in this land. Stay strong, keep your faith alive. Whatever comes to meet us, know the darkness won't defeat us. Stay strong and keep your faith alive.
Sages have called the quality of consciousness that we've been cultivating the love that never faileth. So we have been here in this body, which is a temple of the Spirit, bringing our focus to the sanctum sanctorum of that temple, which is our heart, to worship that great mystery of life, that amazing presence that is best referred to as the gift, So we bring our attention into this temple of the Spirit. We approach the sanctum sanctorum of our heart to worship the gift. And this gift has been called by sages the love that never faileth. Most of the love that we are involved with in our life is personal love, which is a bargaining, an exchange, transactional often. And often that love will betray you, will break your heart, will leave you. And the beauty of the love that never faileth is this is about you and the mystery, you and the goddess within, you and something that there are no words to describe the mystery because it is not an object. There are no words to describe the mystery because it is not an object. And in the amazing paradox of this creation, that which is not an object, yet is everywhere, always, eternal, forever and ever, is the supreme subject. It is the presence in you, the cognizance, the awareness. The sage Ramana, Guru Ramana reminds us that life and consciousness are inextricably bound. To be alive is to be conscious. And that living consciousness within you is the universal life. Unborn, undying, everywhere, always, eternal, forever and ever and ever. The same life that is in everyone, the same presence, the same awareness that is in everyone and everything. The light of infinite stars, infinite universes, which we can only humbly call the great mystery. Fortunately, we can cultivate a communion with this presence. We call it soul communion, and the goal of yoga is constant communion, nitya yoga, unfailing communion, eternal communion, constant communion with that which the sages describe as being consciousness bliss, Sat Chit Ananda, which we experience as divine love. I went to India in 1972, brokenhearted, chewed up by the dynamics of my Saturn return and my superficial, materialistic Western life, in which I only lived for something outside of myself, really had found nothing within. And in India, I was led to You know, in India, I wasn't quite sure what I was searching for, but I was guided to India. And I lived out of a backpack for 2.5 years, putting out a lot of mileage in India on a lot of local buses. My goal was to find God and to live on $1 a day. To maximize, to get as much mileage as I could before my money ran out. And I was drawn inward into a focus on being. And I've had a hard time because it's so simple, it's so obvious, it's so clear. And I was so desperate to get out of this pain I was in. I was desperate. I was the kind of guy who would elbow you out of the way to get to the guru. Just desperate for liberation for decades. And I remember the first time I got it. And again, the thing that had kept me from getting it was I wanted it too badly. And also I had all these concepts of spiritual glamour, wanting the heavens to open up and those glorious Jesus clouds, the hand to reach out, you know, something really psychedelic. Angels, a sweet shepherd, a crusty old patriarch to come out of the clouds, Lord Shiva to dance before me. I was looking for spiritual glamour. I was looking for some form of personification that I had been fed in the West. And finally, wow, after decades and decades and decades of immersion in the culture, in the literature, at the feet of sages, I knew I was looking for something because I kept finding being, but I kept wanting to conceptualize it, to materialize it, to objectify it. So now I'm in a place where I've surrendered. I don't expect the mystery to be personified, to be in any form of glamour or ritual. And I'm cultivating a felt sense of being, a heartfelt sense of being. And I invite you to cultivate this heartfelt sense of being, this love that never faileth. I hope that's useful when I talk a little bit about my journey. So we're beginning with an invocation of the essence of self. We're using these ancient icons as a way of focusing our concentration on the mystery. So you are the Veena that this breath of life is playing. Your body is a musical instrument that in every moment is modulated by this breath into an attunement with sattva, rajas, tamas. You see above her are these three spirits, sattva, rajas, and tamas. These are being played by the music of creation. You see the way the energy just swirls from her sitar, in which Saraswati, the Shakti of Brahma, the breath of life, the power that whose vehicle is a breath, manifests as these three gunas on a molecular level. And each breath we're brought into universal attunement with these fundamental forces. Sattva, the force of equilibrium, in inner attunement, rajas, the fire of creativity, personal power, inspiration. And then tamas, the crystallization of all of that into this amazing, amazing gift of life in a body. So we use this iconography to point to these fundamental dynamics which sustain the gift of life. And we use the powers of these seed essences, these quintessences, these bija mantras, as a way of attuning ourselves with these transcendental forces, and as a way, as we tune into the subtle harmonics of this higher intelligence, of purifying this vehicle, purifying this temple of the spirit, bringing into it a more subtle coherence and liberating attunement with the blessings of the nectar of immortality, which is your own presence. So let's chant with dear Karunama, Om Aim Shrim, cultivating resonance in your chant and bringing your attention into the core. So feel what centers are activated, bring your attention into the core. You're welcome to chant really loud, to really send the harmonics, the overtones into the fields of your body as we commune with our own divine essence. Oops, lost one there. We'll try that again. Om Aim Shri Hri Saraswati Devi Namaha. Om Aim Shri Hri Saraswati Devi Namaha.
Srim Hrim Saraswati Devi Namaha. Om Aim Shrim 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 Hrim Saraswati Devi Namaha.
And turn within, focus on the stillness, the coherence, the presence that we're cultivating through these practices. Go. Where did it go? Let us chant the affirmation of the universal life together, the invocation of the universal life together. I am that without boundaries, limitation, or separation. I am a universal life of indescribable energy and unlimited consciousness. The stars and the planets are the cells of my body. I am filled with indescribable energy and unlimited consciousness. I'm willing energy from that I am, Mahavishnu, the Great Spirit, Narayana, the soul of the universe, Mahasaraswati, goddess of wisdom, to manifest radiant health, perfect health, divine health, to manifest deep inner peace, equanimity, serenity, to manifest self-realization, illumination, liberation. May peace and justice prevail on earth. as we contemplate the asatoma, A means not, sat is being, from non-being lead us to being, from tamas, from that which isn't real, from that which perishes, like the thoughts in our mind, into the jyotir, the self-effulgence of the soul. Lead us from mrityurma, the fear of death, into the amrit, the nectar of immortality, the infinite presence. The picture behind here is a picture of the Ganga, the holy river Ganga, in a town called Haridwar. Haridwar means gateway to Hari, gateway to liberation. And in legendary times, the gods and the demons were struggling in this eternal struggle between light and darkness, good and evil. The demons were winning and were attempting to churn the milky ocean of infinite possibility to find to produce the butter of the nectar of immortality. And if the demons were to produce the nectar of immortality, the demons would then win out over the gods. They had been using the serpent, Vasuki, to churn a mountain, to churn the milky ocean of infinite possibility, and produce the butter of the nectar of immortality. The gods had, in the end, they produced this nectar of immortality, and the demons had the chalice with this nectar of immortality. And Lord Vishnu appeared as Mohini. Lord Vishnu appeared as the enchantress, Mohini, the most beautiful and seductive embodiment, personification of femininity imaginable. So Lord Vishnu, this all-pervasive intelligence, appeared as this seductress Mohini, enchantress Mohini. Mohini means to enchant, as the feminine personification of the feminine captivation. And all the demons were struck by her beauty and struck by her magnetism, her feminine magnetism. And they threw themselves at her feet and said, whatever you want, whatever you want, whatever you want, as men tend to do with beautiful women. And Mohini said, well, give me this chalice with the nectar of immortality and I will distribute it fairly. So the demons handed Mohini the chalice, and she fled with the chalice of the nectar of immortality. And in that fleeing with the chalice of the nectar of immortality, 4 drops fell upon the earth. And where the 4 drops fall is where this biggest spiritual gathering in the world takes place, the Kumbh Mela, full gathering. So here we're looking at this tiny temple right in the center is called Harikipati, where Lord Vishnu's feet actually touch the earth and where a drop of the nectar of immortality resides. And the goal of the Kumbh Mela for many of us is to get to that temple at the exact auspicious time and then achieve liberation. And in 1974, I was at the 1974 Kumbh Mela, and I was on a little island in the Ganga, camped out with a bunch of hippies and an old sadhu who was our leader. and a high priest, Fantuzzi. And I was traveling with a Frenchman. I had money for food, and he was a wonderful cook. We were traveling together. And I said, no, it will be impossible to get to Hari Ki Pari at the astrological appropriate time. So sometime after midnight, he rousted me, and we headed off to Hari Ki Pari. We had to, walk into the Ganga and cross the Ganga from our island, walk through the waters. And we got to Hari Ki Pari, and it was empty. And there were huge metal gates closed. And there was a policeman on horse. There were policemen on horses guarding the gates. And then at the auspicious time, the gates opened and we were all allowed to pour in. And after I had my darshan, had my presence in this tiny little temple, was able to pay my obeisance at the appropriate time and place, as we were leaving, we heard voices calling us from under the temple, and we spent the night under the temple chanting. So the nectar of immortality is right here in your heart, and the presence is that eternal presence. And sages tell us what is here is everywhere, and what is not here is nowhere. That this presence is the only reality. So if you are tortured, if you are tormented by your mind, if you are lost through your identification with your mind, this is an opportunity to move from tamas into jyotir, the self-effulgence of the soul. So let us chant this liberating mantra and express our intention to live in reality, to live in the presence of our own inherent divinity, to worship this goddess breath by breath in the sanctorum sanctorum of our hearts. Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya Om Masatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya Om Masatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya Om Masatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya Om Masatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya Om Masatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya Om Masatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya Om Masatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya Om Masatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya. I don't know about you, but I'm having a bliss attack this morning. I hope you are too. the Gayatri Mantra. And as I said, you can self-initiate into the mantra by chanting the mantra 250,000 times. It goes pretty quickly. But since I go to India so often, I guess I first was attracted to the Gayatri Mantra in the 1990s and was just touched by its power, its charisma, the gift of grace. So I remember going to the Saint Amachi, the hugging guru, and asking one of the people around her if I could get initiation into the Gayatri. And they said that I would have to give up my own teacher because that would mean that Amachi would become my teacher for all eternity until I was liberated. And I said, no, I just can't give up my own teacher. I'm like gum on her gummies. I'm like chewing gum on her sandals. I just, no. They have too profound a karmic connection. So then a few years later, I was with my wife's guru, who she's in love with and enchanted with. And he was going to officiate at a temple where a man was donating an elephant. And we were with him on stage. He likes to show that he has Western disciples, gray-haired Western disciples surrounding him. So we're his white elephants, I always call us. We're his white elephants. So we were on stage with him, and he wanted me to say something to show that we loved and respected the wisdom of India. So he came over to my ear and whispered the Gayatri Mantra and said, "Do you know this?" And I said, "Yes." So that was an opportunity for me to have the Gayatri Mantra whispered in my ear. And then a few years later, my teacher, Vanamali Mataji, was writing a book on the sons of Shiva. And one of the sons of Shiva is a god known as Kartikeya of Morgan that's worshipped in South India. And she felt that in order to do the inner work necessary to communicate the essence of this mystery, of this particular aspect, we needed to make a pilgrimage to Sri Lanka. And as there was a war going on in Sri Lanka, there was nearly no one else who volunteered to go with her. And so I volunteered to go with her to Sri Lanka. The war was going on in the north east, and we were going to the south. And I volunteered to go with her, and we had a wonderful, wonderful pilgrimage. The arrangements were made in the name of Vanamali Ashram. So at one hotel, one of the people inquired and said, "Mr. and Mrs. Ashram, why aren't you sleeping together? Why do you have separate rooms?" So I was Mr. Ashram on this pilgrimage. And we got to Kartikeya, and we paid our obeisances. But on the way home, we stopped in a place called Nuri-Ili, which had been the kingdom ruled by Ravana, the demon, in the famous story of the Ramayana, which is the second most important legend in the whole of the wisdom of India. So Nuri-Ili was where the castle of the demon king Ravana had been located, where he's stolen the goddess Sita and brought her back as his prisoner, attempting to take her as his wife. Sita, they say, represents the the knowledge, the liberating knowledge that this demon was seeking to take from the earth. And Rama represented the essence. It was trying to retrieve this knowledge for the sake of the earth, that this was a galactic battle that is somehow recorded there. And there are parts of the legend that are really seen in reality. Supposedly the monkeys and bears built a land bridge between India and Sri Lanka. And now satellite photos have shown the submerged bridge underwater between India and Sri Lanka. And in Nur Ely, so at one point, Hanuman, the monkey god, is sent to the Himalayas to bring back Sanjeevani, this life-giving herb. And Hanuman says to Ram, I don't know which herb it is. And so I'll just bring back the mountaintop. So he brings back the whole mountaintop where the Sanjeevani is growing. And here in Sri Lanka, at Nur Ely, the Sanjeevani herb grows. And actually, okay. So we were in Nur Ely, where the Sanjeevani herb grows. And we were checking into our hotel, and we had chatting it up with the desk clerk. And he mentioned there was a Gayatri temple in the town. And so we went to the Gayatri temple pretty much immediately that evening for evening prayers. And there was a beautiful, beautiful black Gayatri deity with just infinite heads, and an old sage, Dr. Morgesu, who was the master of the ashram. And I asked him if I could hear the Gayatri chanted from his lips, from someone who had devoted their life to this mantra and founded this ashram devoted to the mystery that this mantra represented. And he said, come tomorrow morning at sunrise, and I will initiate you. So I managed to get some flowers, some fruit, some metal coins, some incense, some cloth. And I went there at sunrise, and he gave me a Gayatri Diksha and looked me in the eye, whispered this mantra in my ear, gave me a mala and a Shiva lingam. And in the mala was a little container of Sanjeevani, that I'm ever on the verge of death. I want to cling to this light. I can open up this little container and breathe the essence of the Sanjeevani and be brought back to life. So let us chant this mystical Gayatri mantra. I also mentioned that he died shortly after initiating me, so I'm not going to initiate you into the mantra. But let's chant this secret esoteric mantra of the Brahmin caste. It's if there were a it is a key, a magical formula for communing with that. And we join in those who've been chanting this for thousands of years. And we join in approaching that which is worthy of worship and that which lives within you as your own life and as your own presence. So let's commune with the eternal life as it manifests its majesty and splendor in the gift of your life. Om Bhur. Om Bhuva. Om Swaha. Om Maha. Om Jana. Om Tapa. Om Satyam. Om Tatsavito Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Yo Yona Prachodaya Om Apo Jyoti Rasamritam Brahma Bhuvaswaro Om Om Bhuv Om Bhuv Om Swaha Om Maha Om Jana Om Tapa Om Satyam Om Tatsavito Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Yo Yona Prachodaya Om Apo Jyoti Rasamritam Brahma Bhuvaswaro Om Om Bhuv Om Bhuv Om Swaha Om Maha Om Jana Om Tapa Om Satyam Om Tatsavito Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Yo Yona Prachodaya Om Apo Jyoti Vasamritam Brahma Bhuvaswaro Om Om Bhuv Om Bhuv Om Swaha Om Maha Om Jana Om Tapa Om Satyam Om Tatsavito Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Yo Yona Prachodaya Om Apo Jyoti Rasamritam Brahma Bhuvaswaro Om Om Bhuv Om Bhuv Om Swaha Om Maha Om Jana Om Tapa Om Satyam Om Tatsavito Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Yo Yona Prachodaya Om Apo Jyoti Rasamritam Brahma Bhuvaswaro Om Om Bhuv Om Bhuv Om Swaha Om Maha Om Jana Om Tapa Om Satyam Om Tatsavito Varenyam Bhargo devasya dhimahi dhiyo yo na prachodayat. Om apo jyoti rasomritam brahmabhur bhuvaswaro. Om 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 Swaha. Om Maha. Om Jana. Om Tapa. Om Satyam. Om Tat Savito Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Jyoti Rasamritam Brahmabhur Bhuvaswaro. Om 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 Swaha. Om Maha. Om Jana. Om Tapa. Om Satyam. Om Tat Savito Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Apo Jyoti Tasamritam Brahmabhur Bhuvaswaro. Om 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 Swaha. Om Maha. Om Jana. Om Tapa. Om Satyam. Om Tat Savito Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Apo Jyoti Rasamritam Brahmabhur Bhuvaswaro. Om 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 Swaha. Om Maha. Om Jana. Om Tapa. Om Satyam. Om Tat Savito Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Apo Jyoti Rasamritam Brahmabhur Bhuvaswaro. Om 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 Swaha. Om Maha. Om Jana. Om Tapa. Om Satyam. Om Tat Savito Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na prachodayat. Om Apo Jyoti Rasamritam Brahmabhur Bhuvaswaro. Om. 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 Om Swaha. Om. Om Jana. Om Tapa. Om Satyam. Om Tat Savito Varenyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Apo Jyoti Rasamritam Brahmabhur Bhuvaswaro. Om. 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 Om Swaha. Om Maha. Om Jana. Om Tapa. Om Satyam. Om Tat Savito Varenyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Apo Jyoti Rasamritam Brahmabhur Bhuvaswaro. Om. 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 Om Swaha. Om Maha. Om Jana. Om Tapa. Om Satyam. Om Tat Savito Varenyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Apo Jyoti Rasamritam Brahmabhur Bhuvaswaro. Om. 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 Om Swaha. Om Maha. Om Jana. Om Tapa. Om Satyam. Om Tat Savito Varenyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Apo Jyoti Rasamritam Brahmabhur Bhuvaswaro. Om. Last time. Om Bhuva. Om Swaha. Om Maha. Om Jana. Om Tapa. Om Satyam. Om Tat Savito Varenyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Apo Jyoti Rasomritam Brahma Bhur Bhuvaswarom. Om. Let us commune with the stillness that we have cultivated through these powerful presents. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May peace, may peace, may peace and justice prevail on earth. Thank you.
Some say the end is coming, to set our souls running, but I say, stay strong and keep your faith alive. Let's all come together, take care of each other. Stay strong and keep your faith alive. Raise your hands in the air. Stay strong and keep your faith alive.